EyeSee is a tech-enabled behavioral research company testing in over 50 markets. Passionate about consumer behavior, the team uses a combination of behavioral and traditional methods. They are leaders in context studies. EyeSee creates replicas of shopping environments such as 3D stores, social media feeds, and e-commerce platforms for authentic insight. So yes, I'll pass it over to Xingyu Tok.
Thanks everyone for joining me today. So as we come close to the end of the year and we prepare for the new year ahead, so my team and I thought it would be very relevant to share with you our latest findings about consumer behavior, as well as tips on how you can leverage TikTok as part of your communication strategy in the new year. So my name is Xingyu, part of the EyeSee team looking after research in the APAC region. So over with me, I have some colleagues in the room here as well. So if you have any questions later about the presentation, or if you'd like to have any other further discussion points, please feel free to connect with us. And for those of you who have not heard of EyeSee, we are one of the leading tech-enabled behavioral insights agency. So we use a unique combination of behavioral and conventional methods. So all these studies are done in a replicated virtual environment. So they are meant to provide us with the greatest predictive powers. So at EyeSee, we pride ourselves on our scalable approach to behavioral insights testing, as well as our consultative expertise. So at EyeSee, we are very passionate about understanding consumer behavior. So we wanted to understand what are the changes in consumer behavior, if any, pre and post-pandemic. So we did a meta-analysis of 250 studies in the FMCG category. They range across the different methods, from eye tracking, facial coding, virtual shopping, and surveys. There are 50,000 to 150,000 respondents per method. And they were all done in a replicated shelf environments that 95% of the times have been shown to be in line with actual shopping behavior. They were conducted across the 3 regions, the US, EMEA, and APAC. So after collecting the data, we sorted them into 2 categories, pre as well as post-pandemic. So let's start with the food category. So here, when consumers are asked about products, many of them rate them as highly desirable. But this such high desirability do not necessarily translate into purchase. So we see that consideration and penetration rates for food products in this category actually decline by double. So simply put, fewer shoppers are buying fewer products on the shelf. And it is a competitive shelf environment. In the shoppers' exploratory behavior, they have declined as well. So visibility of individual SKUs and brands on the shelf have also decreased. Shoppers are using more time to find the right product on the shelf rather than looking for and considering other options. In the non-food category, disruptions have been more moderate. So considerations that have slightly decreased, but people are still buying on the shelf. So this means that we see some signs of consumer cautiousness, but they are still purchasing from the shelf. So such consumer cautiousness can also be seen in the navigation patterns on the products. The claim visibility and product promise have increased in prominence, increasing by 50%, and these impacts other pack elements, particularly pack imagery. When it comes to APAC, the purchase intent of over-the-counter medicine is 12% higher than the rest of the world. So clearly, this sounds like a logical result of the global health crisis, but it's also a sign of our importance and our priority of the well-being trends. We also want to take health into our own hands, thus the higher demand to self-medicate. And apart from shopping behavior, without a doubt, the pandemic has also further shaped and refined our relationship with social media. During this time, we are cooped up at home, socially isolated, without having our engagement and connection needs. So social media apps, particularly TikTok, thrived during this period of time. And following the pandemic, our usage habits remained, and TikTok enjoyed one of the highest user retention in APAC. So given TikTok's higher emotional engagement and promising sales impact, more and more businesses are now turning to TikTok to engage and reach out to their audiences. So with so much attention and real estate being placed on TikTok, do we know exactly how they impact shoppers' behavior? And do we know how shoppers are reacting to them? So this is what we attempt to find out. To understand what makes TikTok ads so successful, we did a study of 60 ads from more than 20 brands across diverse industries, such as FMCG, retail, and beauty. They were done in 2 waves of study in June and September this year. So we are looking at very fresh data. In terms of methodology, the studies were done in a replicated TikTok environment. So ads were embedded in the second post of the TikTok scroll. So with this, we are able to understand how the ads capture and retain the viewer's attention. At the same time, ads were also tested in the standalone mode, such that our facial coding algorithm can capture how they engage the viewers emotionally and what kind of emotions were provoked. At the same time, ads were also tested in the survey mode to understand brand metrics. For this presentation, we looked at 3 main groups of KPIs. So firstly, will be more towards whether the ads are seen, whether the ads evoke any emotions and which, and how the ad impacts the brand metrics. So this is important because what we don't see, we don't buy, and what we don't like, we also don't buy. And usually, what we like is usually more memorable. So when it comes to the shelf, that will be a very important criteria. So now, let's look at a case study of one of our clients, Universal Robina. So they are one of the leading food and beverage company in the Philippines. We have chosen this brand to share in this presentation because their ads have been really successful in our testing, and they provide good insights for us to be learning from. These were the ads tested.
Yes!
So that's Cloud9.
Pub, how to perk someone up.
Gusto mong potato chips?
No thanks.
Sure.
Uy, bigat!
We have Jack and Jill.
Great Taste Choco! Tamang timpla!
Happy, happy choco. Plus coffee energy. Happy, happy choco. Plus coffee energy. Together my happy energy.
Happy Energy Mornings with Great Taste Choco.
So let's start off with looking at whether the ads are spotted. We'll look at 3 main metrics here. Focus, which is time spent on the screen. Retention, which is percentage of ads watched. As well as stopping power, which is the percentage of respondents who watch at least the first 3 seconds of the ads. As we can see over here, Great Taste, they did pretty well in attracting and retaining users' attention. They outperformed the benchmarks in these 2 aspects. So the figures over here refers to the data from our benchmarks in the wave 2 of the study. And Great Taste did well thanks to its dynamic pace, fast-changing scenes, as well as catchy music. For Jack and Jill, they also did pretty well here in capturing and retaining users' attention. So they outperformed the benchmarks as well as the 2 other ads in terms of their stopping power as well as retention, thanks to its organic style of a TikTok post. However, also just to highlight that despite having a stronger attention-grabbing ability, it wasn't able to make full use of it. So in other brand metrics such as impact, visibility, as well as informativeness, they didn't do so well in the end. Next, let's look at how the ads evoke any emotional response. And overall, all the 3 ads performed in line with the benchmarks. When we look at it more granularly, we see that for Great Taste, they evoke some negative emotions, so that is at the flavor combination scene. For Cloud9, we also see some slight confusion, especially at the final scene, where we have this statement about love is And now let's look at whether the ads are remembered. So overall, all three ads did well and performed on par with the benchmarks. And interestingly, for Jack and Jill, despite having a small brand logo on the packaging, it was able to perform on par with the other two ads. So this spells and telling of their use of distinctive assets, such as the packaging, the pack color. And in comparison, for Great Taste, they have more salient brand placements, such as through the song and dance routine. And for Cloud9, the brand logo was in the forefront of the ad throughout. And also interestingly, there's a 35% uplift in brand recall if the ad is seen entirely versus only half. So this spells of the importance of user and viewers' attention engagement as well as retention. And finally, we look at the impact of the ads on the brand. So here we looked at three core metrics as well. Viewers who would consider purchasing a brand after the ad, uplift in brand recall, as well as uplift in brand interest. And as you can see over here, all three ads perform higher than the benchmarks. So what can we learn from these three ads? So from Great Taste, we understand that having a dynamic pace, having catchy music, they work well in attracting attention as well as resonating emotionally with the viewers. For Cloud9, we understand that oversimplification of videos or visuals, such as having the collage visuals, having still images, as well as a slower pace, they do not do so well in engaging viewers' attention as well as resonating emotionally. And finally, for Jack and Jill, we understand that although the organic style of the TikTok post did well in capturing viewers' attention, it didn't do so well in other metrics such as informativeness and impact. So there's a need to maintain authenticity throughout, as well as include messages that are relevant. So I will stop for now. These are just some of our key findings from the report. And if you'd like to know the fuller insights into the best practices across the 60 ads and more than 20 brands, please feel free to reach out to me and my colleagues. You can also write directly to us. And for those of you who are interested at in-context testing, I'm excited to share that my colleagues are working on the MVP for the WeChat testing environment. So this means that by Q2 next year, you'll be able to test your ads and content through the WeChat simulation environment with all the relevant testing features. Thank you.